These rings that you're going to see in this video are made from jewelry that was inherited from the mom. We've got a responsibility to create something that holds a memory. It's got a story to it. The combination of the life of the mom essentially was melted and split into 3 rings for 3 sisters. My name is Jaco. Behind the camera as always is the Maya. That's the Maya's fingers right there. Thank you very much for being here. Let's get into today's video. I've got a basic idea of what I want to make because I've had a proper appointment with the 3 sisters. There's a couple of things I can't fight against. I can't fight finger sizes and I can't fight stone sizes. Those are my definites. I remove everything from the gold where there's 2 tones. For instance, white gold or platinum comes off the yellow gold. And then I'm taking all the yellow gold and I'm taking all the white gold and I'm splitting them up and seeing what I've got to work with. I'm starting with making the tubes because it's the middle point of the ring, so that I know how big to make the ring to fit around that. The stones were all different sizes and we had different cuts with them as well. And as I usually do with some of the mine cut stones as well, even though the stone's not perfectly round, I'm going to try and achieve a tube that's exactly the same size as the stone itself. I'm trying to create, when looking from the top, that I'm just seeing the diamond with the tube right underneath it. That way, if I'm going slightly into it, which is what I'm going to do when I'm putting my claws on, so that the claws hug the diamond. So while I've got the tubes separately and I've sorted them out in their groups, how I want to place them, I can literally put them straight next to each other on a flat surface. I'm using the side of a crucible. And the thing to mention here as well, if I have soldered them, I would turn them to the point where the 2 solder marks join. I'm doing 1 ring that has 2 stones for the one sister, and the other 2 I'm doing rings that pass past each other like this, which will have 2 stones and an additional stone on the side. It's a difficult thing to balance out, but with agreement the 2 stone ring is slightly bigger in diamond size, so there's a compromise that the other 2 get an extra diamond. I wanted to do 3 individual personalities, even though 2 styles are the same. I've made the 1 ring to go this direction and the other one to go this direction, so both of the rings have got their own identity. Here's a good example of one of the tools that I stole from the Maya. I use the pin vise, which is also usually open at the back, and I feed the wire through so that I can get a little point that sticks out at the front here, and I file that by turning it so that I can accommodate it to go through a draw plate. I make the wires. I can then bend it in a little U shape. The U shape is to clip over the sections of the actual tube between those sections and get it absolutely straight, exactly how I want it, by adjusting this little corner over here. And once I've got them clamped over there, it also holds it perfectly for me to solder where I want to solder it. Once I've soldered it, I just clip the top part off and I've got 2 claws in place. I've prepared this metal, I've annealed it, I've cared for it all the way as I'm compressing it, and these rings are going to be very similar, so I'm using the same thickness all the way through. These pieces are longer than what they need to be, but that excess can always be cut off so that I can get the shapes that I'm looking for. And as I'm shaping it, you're hardening it again, and as I'm hardening it, I'm annealing it. As I'm working, I'm softening that metal up so that I've always got something that will correspond with what I'm asking from it. The balance of a ring is always important, and if you've got a very plain band meeting up with your setting at the top, it often feels like it's 2 parts that are sort of joined together. But if that band raises up and meets it and sort of develops into your top area, it does more for the design in the sense that it flows. For me to make a ring flow is that tapering to the top. And that's what I'm going to be doing next. I'm tapering the top ends, flattening the tops by hammering, turning it around, hammering the other side as well. And once I've got my flattened areas, I can start folding it into the areas I wanted to fold it in. I need the the bottom of the shank to sort of be the middle point of where you're going to have normality. From the bottom, I wanted to start having movement. I wanted to have flow towards an area, but it also mustn't have a short little curl and then just a straight shank. So the whole shank is essentially involved in the movement. I'm using a flat and a half round. So anything, even though the metal is still rough, I'm still using the most appropriate plier. So if you're using something like a chain nose plier, which has got two sharp ends to it, there's going to be some marring on the metal, some marking on the metal. I'm just refining it, and I'm going to be refining it all the way until the end, until it's done. I can now take the excess parts, because remember I said excess that I worked with, and I can cut those off. But checking your settings on the ring, that's where the two parts are starting to meet. So the third one I'm going to be making, basically finishing it off as a flat ring that's soldered, and then I'm going to be cutting that soldered area open, bending them out towards where I want them to be. I'm forming it from a bigger size to a smaller size, using that extra size that I had in the beginning. As I'm going smaller, as it goes smaller, I'm bringing the front parts out, and I'm using the smaller size to allow those extra wings, that extra area that I need for the stones to be seated in. I clamped all the settings with the tension of the rings. Very important, pre-clean them, because once you soldered, you don't have access there. So while they're open, go through the whole process just before final polish, essentially. Even polish it, and then do the soldering. And I'm coating them with something like a borax powder, I think it's called. I'm sure Demai will put a picture up on the actual item. I'm mixing that in with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, and I'm creating a paste. Now the paste is so that I can avoid any unnecessary tarnish that I have to go back in and clean up. And it also works as a bit of a flux, so it's a helper all around. I've got platinum and I've got gold, so I'm going to go to the gold and get the harder solder of the gold to put that together. And here's the thing, this tidiness that you get in handmade jewelry comes from those clean edges where the thing is pre-polished before you actually end up putting those parts together. And then secondly, wherever they're touching, a little bit of solder is more than enough, because you've got several spots that actually hold the settings in place, and it also adds to the neatness, the tidiness of the ring itself. It looks like parts are coming together and they're just touching. There's no excessive solder flow. These are little things that you can use in the manufacturing side, where you can't really compete with it in mass manufactured jewelry. I don't have all the claws in place, but now that I've got the setting in place, it's allowed the areas for the claws to be. Since I've already got my center claws in place, there where it ends, where the parts are splitting past each other, it allows me now to take a claw, the same size as I had, and move it into that little space and find the place where the claw touches both the ring as well as the setting. I'm looking at lines, I'm looking at the flow of light on the actual metal itself, and I'm bringing in a slight angle. So I'm emphasizing the movement of this ring by taking the side and working in a nice smooth flow from the bottom up. And I'm bringing it at a slight angle as well. I'm basically shaping the ring. So I'm not filing so much at the bottom as what I'm doing towards the stones like this. I'm going to put everything into making these rings feel as good as they can. So here's the inside that touches your finger. I'd like that to be slightly rounded. They call it quart shape in the UK. There's several ways of going about doing this. I cut a line with my file, and by taking a corner and cutting a specific angle on it all the way around, allows me to see that I'm being symmetrical, I suppose, because if you file it down too much, your little parallel line will become fatter. I can actually see that I've got a consistent line going from the one point to the next. Then when I have that specific space, I've got the next corner over here and the next corner over there. So what I'll be doing is breaking it from this half to halfway down this corner. I can once again see the consistency in my lines. I've basically got a rough comfort fit Even though you don't see it, it's an incredibly comfortable ring to make. You need a little bit more thickness of the metal itself to really produce a good comfort fit, but we had plenty to go with. We have an extra diamond now on the two other rings that we're going to bring in. Because these stones are smaller, I'm just using wire, which I'm going to be adding in. I'll be drilling through that, or that size stone can just make the wire, solder it on, create the claws, and then drill through, creating a tube. There's something about making it yourself and forming it yourself which it almost involves you in the whole flow of the ring. This flow part of it is so important in these rings. It's what gives them impact. I really enjoy what I do because of this connection that I have and this sentiment. But what is it that drives you? Why do you do this particular thing, this particular way? I'd be interested to read about that, and I'd also be interested to see what your thoughts are on these rings and the way that we've made them. Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure to make these videos. We really enjoy it, and you guys have just been the best. That's it for this week. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now.